So let me show you this turnaround lick for Blues for Alice. It's on the descending 2/5 part. I'm gonna just play it and show you it, and then I'm gonna explain everything. So B flat minor 7, that's where we're starting. We're gonna arpeggio a B flat minor 7 third inversion in our left hand, and then we're gonna go down to the third of the 5, which would be E flat, and then we're gonna go to flat 9, flat 7. And we're going to chromatically walk up. And usually we'd go to E flat, but for here, because the left hand goes to A minor, we're going to go to E. And then we're going to do the same lick. So that's a third inversion. The third, flat 9. And usually we go to D, but we're actually going to go to E flat. And then at the end of this one, I kind of just like to walk down to the D for the G minor, because that kind of sets me up for some bebop licks after that, right? So let's explain the lick, and let's kind of look at it with continuous 2/5s instead of just chromatic 2/5s, because this is chromatic, but it's deceptive, you know? It's not the original source of the lick. So just the lick by itself, you know, it's a quick 2/5, you know, 2/5 in a bar, right? And that would be the end of the lick, right? But how can you get away with so much with it? Well, you can do continuous 2/5s, like when you're practicing your 2/5 licks, and then, right? So you can continuously do it, and the only variation, the only difference is you really have to do is instead of, you know, doing a whole step, you do a half step. So this is the original lick, right? The thing about Blues for Alice is it kind of does chromatic 2/5s, which is pretty cool. So diverts your expectations. Cool. And that's basically lick. You can practice that continuously in continuous 2/5s or chromatic 2/5s and just do it all in all 12 keys. Now, let's take a look at the left-hand voicings I was doing, in case you're curious. So these are my left-hand voicings. B minor 9, B flat minor 9, sorry. There you go. And I just move the third, I would go down to the third, right? So the 7 becomes the third. And then same voicing chromatically. Okay, so why does that, you know, work? Last point, you know, why does that even work to begin with, right? Well, you have to look at tritones and how tritones resolve harmonically. So if I'm taking a look at, you know, B flat, okay, and then I go to E flat, okay, I have this tritone here, okay, that's the most dissonant harmony, and a lot of people don't know this. Well, maybe you do if you kind of read some classical theory, but you know, tritones can resolve in half steps and whole steps in both directions. So like if I come inward, see each tritone just moved inward by half step, right? The tritone moved inward by half step, and so that resolves to D major, because that would be like A7, right? But it can also remove outward, right? Which would be, if I can think, E flat to A flat, right? So we're on, which is what we're doing right now, right? And so I have this tritone, but how can it resolve to A minor, you ask? Well, it can resolve by whole steps as well. So one can go half, one can go whole. So I can do, the G can go up a whole step, and the C sharp or D flat can go down a half step. So, and it could be A minor. Okay, not the prettiest resolution, like not as cool as the other ones, but it theoretically works. And then when you put it in context with the song, it does sound like it works, right? Because you, right, it kind of does sound like there's some structure there. So that's that resolution. And you can also play around with it like this. I can go like a whole step in here, and then so I could do like E flat minor. You can resolve to E flat minor. Probably not a good idea, but you can do it. And see what else. I can also resolve outwards like this. So I can resolve to A flat minor, which is a common resolution, right? You know, pretty classical, right? 5 minor 1. So that is kind of how tritones work. And if you study tritone theory, you know, if you look at a flat 9 chord, like Barry Harris diminished 6th scale and stuff, if you look at these flat 9 dominant chords, you know, there are a multitude of chords, actually. It's an E flat 7, it's a G sharp 7, it's an A7, and it's also a C7, right? So it has a lot of places to resolve. It has 2 tritones stacked on top of it. So both tritones can resolve in either direction, in whole steps and half steps. So you have a lot of possibilities with dissonant harmony. Cool. So that's it. Thanks for watching.